The Princess and the Frog.
In a kingdom nestled between rolling green hills and an ancient whispering wood, there stood a magnificent castle. Within its walls lived a princess named Aurelia. She was a young lady of great beauty, with hair the color of spun gold and eyes as blue as the summer sky. Yet for all the splendors of her home, her greatest joy was found in a simple, perfect sphere of gold. It was a gift from her grandmother, as smooth as glass and as bright as the sun, and she loved nothing more than to toss it high into the air, its arc a glittering rainbow against the deep green of the forest canopy. Her favourite place to play was by an old well that sat under the shade of a weeping willow at the very edge of the castle grounds. The well was deep and dark, its stone walls slick with moss and thyme. One particularly warm afternoon, as Aurelia played, she threw her golden ball higher than ever before. It soared towards the sun, but as it came down, it struck a low-hanging willow branch, and with a dreadful finality bounced away from her outstretched hands and vanished with a faint plop into the depths of the well. Princess Aurelia stared into the blackness, her reflection wavering on the water far below. Her heart sank. "It's gone," she whispered, her voice trembling. "My beautiful golden ball is gone forever." Tears welled in her eyes and streamed down her cheeks, her small shoulders shaking with sobs. Suddenly, a deep, croaking voice spoke from the well's edge. "Whatever is the matter, princess? You weep so sorrowfully, one might think the sky itself was falling." Aurelia looked up, startled, and beheld a large green frog, its skin bumpy and its wide eyes blinking at her slowly. She recoiled in disgust. "It's my golden ball," she cried, forgetting her revulsion for a moment. "It has fallen into the well, and I shall never see it again." "I can retrieve it," the frog said, its voice surprisingly steady. "But what will you give me in return for such a service?" "Oh, anything," the princess declared hastily. "You may have my finest jewels, my silken gowns, even my crown if you wish." The frog shook its head, a slow, deliberate motion. "Your treasures are of no use to me. I do not desire jewels or finery. I am lonely, princess. Promise me this, that you will love me and let me be your companion. Let me eat from your own golden plate and sleep upon a pillow in your own bed. If you promise me this, I will fetch your ball at once." Aurelia stared at the creature. What a ridiculous request! How could a slimy frog from a well ever be the companion of a princess? But she desperately wanted her toy back. "He can never leave this well," she thought to herself. "I can promise whatever he asks and simply run home once I have my ball." So, without a moment of true consideration, she said, Yes, I promise everything you ask. Now please, bring back my ball." The frog gave a single solemn nod, then dived deep into the cold, dark water. A few moments later, it reappeared, pushing the gleaming golden ball before it onto the grass. With a cry of delight, Aurelia snatched up her precious toy. She gave the frog no more than a passing glance before turning and running as fast as her legs could carry her back towards the safety of the castle. "Wait!" the frog called after her, its voice filled with a plaintive echo. "Wait for me!
You made a promise!" But the princess did not look back. She did not even slow down. The very next evening, as the royal family sat for dinner in the grand hall, a strange noise broke the genteel clatter of silver on porcelain. It was a wet slapping sound on the marble stairs. Slap, slap, slap. Then came a loud knock at the great oak door. "Go and see who is there," the king commanded a footman. The footman returned, his face a mask of confusion. "Your Majesty," he stammered, "it is only a large frog." Before the king could reply, the frog hopped into the room and addressed the princess in its deep, clear voice. "Princess Aurelia, you made me a promise, and I have come to claim it." Aurelia turned pale with horror. The king, seeing his daughter's distress, looked at her sternly. "Daughter," he said, his voice low and serious, "what is the meaning of this?" With her head bowed in shame, Aurelia recounted the entire story of the lost ball and the hasty promise she had made at the well. When she had finished, the king's expression was grave. "A promise is a sacred thing, Aurelia," he said solemnly. "The word of a princess is her bond. You must keep your word, no matter how unpleasant you find the task. Lift the frog onto the table." Reluctantly, Aurelia did as she was told. The frog hopped onto the gleaming wood and ate from her golden plate, much to her disgust. When dinner was over, it was time for bed. The frog looked at her. "I am tired now. Carry me to your room so I may sleep upon your pillow." The thought of the cold, clammy creature in her warm bed made Aurelia shudder, but the stern look in her father's eyes left her no choice. With trembling hands, she picked up the frog and carried it up the winding staircase to her bedchamber. There she placed it on the pillow furthest from her own and turned away. "That is not enough," said the frog. "You promised to love me. Now you must kiss me good night." This was too much. "Kiss you?" she cried, her face scrunching in revulsion. "You are a horrid, slimy frog. I will not." But then she remembered her father's words about honor and promises. With a deep sigh of resignation, she closed her eyes tightly, leaned forward, and gave the frog the quickest, most fleeting of kisses on its cool, damp head. A brilliant flash of emerald green light filled the room, so bright it shone through her closed eyelids. When she dared to open them, the frog was gone. Standing in its place was a handsome prince, dressed in fine green velvet, his eyes smiling down at her. "You have broken the spell," he said, his voice no longer a croak, but a rich and noble tone. "A wicked sorceress cursed me to live as a frog until a princess would promise to be my companion and seal that promise with a kiss." Aurelia stared, her heart pounding with astonishment and a deep rising shame for her behaviour. This wonderful prince had been the creature she had so despised. He had been patient and steadfast, holding her to a promise she had tried to abandon. She saw now that a promise kept, even a difficult one, held a magic all its own. The prince, seeing the change in her expression, was filled with gratitude. "You have saved me," he said. "Will you now do me the honour of becoming my wife?" Aurelia, who had learned a valuable lesson about appearances and integrity, found that she liked the prince far more than she had ever liked him as a frog. She smiled, a true and genuine smile this time. "Yes," she said, "I will." And so he took her back to his own kingdom, where they ruled with kindness and wisdom, and lived happily ever after, never forgetting the day a difficult promise led to a wonderful new beginning.